What's up, guys? So I'm editing the podcast that you're about to watch, and I just wanted to issue an apology and a warning because it is just horrific. The cameras were out of focus almost the entire time, and I was losing my voice, so my audio just sounds like crap. But Ezra's audio sounds great, and I think his story is amazing, and his journey is inspiring and totally worth listening to, even if you can't really see him most of the time. So I'm still choosing to edit it and release it with a big disclaimer here at the beginning, just saying sorry. So hope you enjoy it.
Is this where you have the big intro?
This is the big intro. What's up? There you go.
What's up?
Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you.
Sorry, my voice is a little scratchy.
That's okay. What's the name of this podcast?
Planet of the Films. Because here's what happened. The films, it's in the future, and the films have taken over the world. And now it's just a world full of films.
I dig it.
You know Planet of the Apes.
I do know that one.
The exact same storyline, but with films.
I connected that right when you said Planet of the Films.
You got that?
There's a connection, yeah.
You should see the logo.
I better see the logo.
It's Planet of the Apes.
It's incredible.
No, it's good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Who are you? Why are you on my podcast?
I wake up every day and wonder that myself. My name's Ezra Proch, and I'm an entrepreneur, actor, artist, and
Putting it lightly.
I've been in the film world for 15 years, which is insane. So I'm 29 now, aging myself. But I started when I was 14 by total accident. I'm just rabbit trailing from that question, but I think that's what we're doing here. So I've been in film since I was 14. Had no idea that film was even an option as a career, an option as something to spend your time. It never connected the dots of like, oh, I watched this thing and people actually make this thing. Because I was a country kid from Texas. You know, I grew up hunting and fishing, and I mean, my parents were entrepreneurs and artists, and so they were actually they're in the fine furnishings and antiques world. And so they were, and design in that whole world. And so they were on HGTV and all these TV shows growing up. So I was kind of familiar with it, but it never really connected until I was 14. And there was a book called Golf's Sacred Journey. And I knew the author. And so the author had told me, we were both big golfers. He was a lot older than me, obviously, but I was a big golf nerd at 14. And so he said, hey, and it's a golf book. And so I loved the book and I loved golf. He loved golf. And so we became family friends, but also we just connected really well. And so he said, hey, they're making a movie out of this book. You should audition for it. So at the time it was like a really small, like $500,000 project. And so he said, you should audition for it. There's this like little 30-second clip of a kid running through the fields, the main actor in flashbacks. You should audition for that part. So I said, okay, great. Then all of a sudden they signed on a bunch of big stars. So they signed on Robert Duvall, Melissa Leo, Lucas Black. And,
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he called me one day and he was like, hey, this just happened. The budget went to $9 million. And he said, I have no control over this anymore. It's a beast of its own. You should still go audition. You won't get it. And he promised me that I wouldn't get it, which is the funny backstory is that he's a very well-known sports psychologist. He coached the Spurs, he coached the Rockets, he coached a bunch of professional golfers, he's coached Olympians, he's coached all of the world's best athletes. Mentally saying like, you know, you can do this. And he tells me like, you're not going to get this back.
That is crazy.
And so I was like, okay. But he said, you should go audition. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun experience. You won't get it, but it'll be a fun experience.
That's funny.
So I memorized these lines. I had no idea what I was doing. And I drove to Austin. My mom drove me to Austin because I was 14.
Yeah.
And went to this little glorified closet in this big studio, and there was a lady sitting behind a desk that was all covered with junk, and she's holding a little chihuahua and then running a film camera.
Dude, that's exactly how I would imagine it.
It was literally out of a movie. It was like nasty, all the stuff back there.
She's like smoking.
Yeah, I don't think she was, but it would have fit perfectly. And so she's sitting there holding her chihuahua, reading the lines back to me. And I'm like, feeling the emotion of this scene. I had no idea what I was doing. So I walk out of the audition. I think I did it 2 times. The second time she's like, all right, do it a little more this way. Did it 2 times. She's like, all right, thanks. Walked out. I was like, cool, I guess, but don't need to do that again.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was just like a nothing. So then didn't really think anything about it from then on. And then 3 days later, I was outside, and my older brother, who was like 17 at the time, comes running out of the house. He's like, Ezra, the director wants to talk to you. And this guy named Matthew Dean Russell, his first feature directorial, is that the right word?
Beats me. I have no idea.
I think that is. And Matt called me and he said, hey buddy, he was this awesome guy, and just like really took me under his wing immediately. He said, hey buddy, we really loved your audition, and just loved the emotion that you put into it. I wanted to know if you could meet later this week. So I said, sure. So we met at the local golf course.
Was he from Fredericksburg?
He was not. He was from LA. So he was from LA, but they were about to shoot. They started shooting the next week. And so the part that I was playing was about a 4-minute role of the lead character in a bunch of flashback scenes. So, it kind of set up the character. And so we met, and he was just the most soft-spoken, sweetest guy. And he said, hey, I'm going to walk you through all this. I need you to know your lines like your ABCs. And we're gonna do this together. I'm gonna be there every step of the way. A couple things I need from you. I need you to know your lines like your ABCs. And the guy that you're playing as a kid is a real redneck hillbilly from Alabama. And he talks like this. He talks like a guy you would imagine that talks like Alabama. And my mom was born in Alabama, and so it comes very naturally to me. So it's like, sure. And the guy that I was playing the flashback version of is named Lucas Black. And again, I had no idea the film world at this time. I had never seen any of Robert Duvall, Melissa Leo, or Lucas Black. I knew who none of those people were. Basically, at the time, I was just obsessed with golf, and I knew all these professional golfers. Knew no actors, and in fact, one day I was on set. I was about to shoot, and I was hanging out for an hour before, and Robert Duvall, who we call Bobby D, walks up, and he's in like blue sweats. And I literally was thinking to him, I was like, who is this? And he's kind of like walking, a little bit older. I don't know how old he was at the time, but he was, getting around totally fine, but you could tell he was older. And I was like, who is this old guy? Like, and what is he doing here? Anyways, Robert Duvall.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so, but he was so awesome. We met that day. And he said, tell me about yourself, son. And so we talked, and ever since then, like every time I saw him, it was like, hey, how you doing?
Awesome.
He would come over and talk, and just an incredible guy. So anyways, that's how I got into the film world. And the Lucas Black, who I was playing the kid version of, the second thing that Matt wanted from me is he wanted me to spend time with Lucas so I could learn how to talk like him. And so Lucas was a golfer. He was a redneck like me. He was hunted and fished. And so I remember the first time I met Lucas, he was in line for catering. And I was, again, a 14-year-old golfer kid.
Yeah.
And I was wearing, I remember this old cap that I was wearing. It was so sweaty and disgusting. And I met Lucas, and we hit it up. And then like 5 minutes into the conversation, he was like, I think it's time for a new hat there for you.
Yep.
And
That's awesome.
And so he said, hey, why don't you come eat lunch with me and my wife and a couple other people. So me and I think it was my sister and my mom, because I was 14, so it was like half of my family was there. He's like, y'all come eat lunch with us. So we went back to his trailer, and we all had lunch. And from then on, it was like we were fast friends. And that was 15.
That's crazy.
That was 15 years ago this month, actually. Well,
oh, wow.
Probably when this airs last month in August.
Yeah.
15 years in August, and we're still best friends.
That's awesome.
So it just like we hit it off, and he's 10 years older than me ish. So pretty cool that a guy he's 12 years, so 26 could like take me under his wing when I'm 14.
Oh wow, he was 26.
Yeah. So he was 26, crazy. I was 14, and we were friends for years. But then we really got close when I was about 20 and he was 32.
Yeah.
Because he was on a show called NCIS New Orleans, and I was kind of delving into the world of professionalism and all the things that I do now, and so he really became a mentor and a friend.
That's cool.
And yeah, been friends ever since. So that was that movie was called 7 Days in Utopia, and it was kind of the start of everything.
Yeah.
Exactly, and almost every relationship that I've had worked with, done projects with, started from there.
Yeah.
So
That's
amazing. Cool. Like that's where I started 15 years ago when I was 14. Crazy.
That's crazy. So Golf Sacred Journey became 7 Days in Utopia.
Yes.
I should have watched this before, but were you acting with Robert Duvall?
I did. I wasn't in.
When you were acting as the kid, who were you with?
I was with a guy named Joseph Lyle Taylor.
Oh, okay.
And he's gone on to do a bunch of stuff. I can't name it off the top of my head, but I've seen him in stuff, and he's great. He was a great guy, and just kind of the same attitude of everybody else. It was my first film. I had no idea what I was doing. So
yeah,
he's real soft spoken. He'd be, hey buddy, like kind of walk me through. He's from West Texas somewhere, so he's
nice.
He's down down to earth and just real a good guy. So I haven't talked to him since the premiere in 2011. So
okay, wow,
yeah, but a good guy. So
that's crazy.
That's what I remember.
So then from there, what'd you do? Because you went in a totally different direction.
Yeah.
After that.
So for a year I didn't do anything because I didn't know what to do and I didn't know how to move forward. At the premiere the next year, I got connected with some of the ADs, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is what you need to do." So I got an agent, and I did the whole thing. I did some commercials, I did some shorts, I did all that stuff. But I hated auditioning, but I did do one project that I did a bunch of projects in like a 4-year time span. But one I did was near and dear to my heart called Redemption, and then changed the name to The Redemption of Henry Myers. And it was a beautiful Western project. We shot out in Santa Fe, New Mexico at Bonanza Creek Ranch, which is actually where Rust filmed the whole Alec Baldwin fiasco.
Wait, that's crazy. It was the same ranch.
Same ranch, yep. And that's where they shot 310 to Yuma, An Astronaut Farmer. So great, incredible ranch, unbelievable experience. Lived out in Santa Fe for a month. And
that's awesome.
Again, just like the people, the relationships there, everyone has gone out to do such amazing things. And I think because it's such a young industry, and at the time, faith-based film was like, there was nothing being made that was like, whoa, that's legendary. But a lot of these people have gone on to do legendary things. Some of the producers of 7 Days in Utopia, Lucas, obviously, and then with Redemption, a lot of those guys have gone on to do incredible things. They were already doing incredible things. But you have Chad Gunderson, who's the producer of The Chosen with Out of Order Studios. You have our friend Bobby Downs, who's still a very dear friend of mine. Chad and Bobby are still both great friends. And I get to see Bobby more than I get to see Chad. But just great guys, great human beings, love the Lord. And obviously, like, I'm a believer, and those guys love the Lord. And we pursue him with excellence. And that's what I know, I don't work closely with either one of those guys, but we pursue the Lord with excellence, and we demand excellence in our craft, whatever that may be. Film, television, entrepreneurship, business, all the things that we pursue it with excellence.
Yeah. So then you went and did music.
Yes. So from the worlds are so closely related, especially.
I know. In my brain, they're not.
Yeah, especially when you get into the faith-based or faith-adjacent world. So on set of Redemption, this Western, I had picked up the banjo, started playing banjo. My brother had picked up acoustic guitar. I'd played acoustic guitar my whole life, but banjo was something different to me, so it was fun. So we started jamming around the campfire at the hotel every night, and all the cast and crew were like, y'all got to do this, it's so fun. So we started doing it. We started playing shows all over Texas, started slow, and then we just picked up. And I was in high school at the time, and then got into college, put acting a little bit on the back burner, and started playing music. And we toured all over Texas, toured, kind of got a name there, and started touring all over the U.S. We toured the South, West Coast. The South and the West Coast were kind of our markets that we did well in. But Texas was always like our home base, and the place where we always did real well in Texas. And because there's a really thriving music scene in Texas.
Yeah.
But now you have, and this is a little bit, newer. So what happened with music is we toured in 2021. 2020, I was in, COVID happened, shut down all of our touring. I started producing. I had never produced up until then. I'd always written songs, but I'd never produced and written. So I started writing and producing. And by the summer of 2021, my brother and I signed a record deal with Warner Music down in Miami, a subsidiary called Dare Records. And so great experience. Love those guys down at Dare. And so we toured, we played, we released some great music. And then we started, as we were doing music, my brother and I, who have always done creative projects together, were like, we love touring. We don't want to be touring for the next 20 years, unless you're Coldplay or, some crazy, Justin Bieber. It's like, music life's tough. It's tough. And so we decided, hey, let's do this. Let's play half the shows for double the money. And it worked out beautifully because we played half the shows for double the money, made the same amount of money, and it was awesome. And so from there, we just decided, okay, it's not like a long-term career option. We did it for we had a great 6-year run. We were super happy with all the numbers that we hit. But it came to a point where it was like, okay, we don't want to do this for the rest of our lives.
Sure.
But it's always, especially, it's so deeply rooted in both of us, and so it'll always be a part of what we do and who we are. And so I love that. Back to how music and film are connected. A lot of my music and film friends were in LA or Orange County, south of LA, north of San Diego, and so pretty much everybody the last 5 years has come to Nashville. That's where we did all of our recording. That's where, we had a ton of friends there. And so we've gotten connected with a great group in Nashville, and just a great group of friends, great community. They're all doing crazy things all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty tight-knit community. There's when I say this number is big, but like 100, 120 people that we all stay connected. We're a part of this young leadership group, and we're in all areas. We're in business. We're in, some people are in ministries, a lot of entertainers, influencers. Some people don't like influencers, so we'll do content creators, film, music, television, music videos. They're doing everything. And so it's so fun to be a part of that crew, and to do life and create projects with them.
Yeah.
And your paths kind of go like this, but I'll tell you a funny story, and she wouldn't mind me telling this, but about 4 years ago, I met a girl named Cozy Zulsdorf, and Cozy was in a movie 15 years ago, about the same time that I was in 7 Days in Utopia, called Dolphin Tale.
Oh, right.
Dolphin Tale?
I think that's right.
Yes, I think so.
1 and 2.
It was really, it was a massive success.
Yeah.
It was Chris Christopherson. Cozy was the star.
That's crazy.
Cozy Zulsdorf, and then who else was in it?
I don't know if I've ever actually watched it.
Okay.
That was like during that that great era of live action movies that were like just so many good movies that came out of that time.
I think, was Dennis Quaid in it? I think Dennis Quaid was was Cozy's dad. Yes, he was Cozy's dad.
Okay.
So Cozy was in Dolphin Tale a long time ago. She's gone on to do great things. She's done Disney projects and all this stuff. But I was on a film 3 months ago in Nashville, and she's always been a writer as well, a screenwriter. And so she was working on a project, and I was working on a project, and we happened to be in the same city working on these projects. So it was so much fun because it's like, we've never really worked together, but we've always like cheered each other on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you end up in the same city doing different projects, and we never actually worked together, but like it's, Nashville's a small city, and there's only so many creatives. So people like my makeup lady was on her set for a day,
Nice.
and then she was back on our
Nice.
set. And so it's just like all these crisscross things. And Cozy and I are texting. We're just like, yes, you're killing it. And she's like, you're
That's
killing
awesome.
it. So it's so fun to have a group of people to cheer you on, you cheer them on. And it makes life more fun.
Yeah.
It makes life more fun when everybody's winning, or when somebody's winning and you can cheer that person on.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. Is Nashville where movies are being made now?
I would not be the one to ask. Here's the other disclaimer that I wanted to give at the beginning of this that I didn't. But I'm not really a filmmaker. I'm an actor, and I am a storyteller. But I wouldn't consider myself a filmmaker. I did have a funny experience 3 months ago. I was on this film in Nashville, and my friend Bobby introduced me to some executives. He was like, Ezra's an amazing actor and producer. I was like, I'm a producer? Oh, yeah, I guess I am a producer. You could consider me that. But now as it is in most of the case in entertainment, you kind of do the job that's in front of you.
Yeah.
You be creative, and if you have a story to tell, you tell it.
Yeah.
And so right now, we can get into this later, but working on developing a story right now with my brother and a couple other producers, and so yes, it's.
But you're not a filmmaker.
I'm, not really. I wouldn't consider myself a filmmaker. I would consider myself an actor.
Okay.
And a storyteller.
In filmmaking, you're an actor.
Yes. Yep.
But then you're also an entrepreneur, and you do music, produce music, and you have your own band. You've been in bands, so you do a lot of stuff.
I do a lot of stuff. It all revolves around building a team, which is producing.
Yeah.
Like the business that I'm in now, we have a very successful company, and I'm a partner in the company. I helped start kind of the growth branch of the company, and so we're blowing and going with that. We're retailers, and it's funny because I was talking to one of my producer buddies who's way ahead, very, very successful, and I was saying, I want to at some point produce, but I don't know how to do that. Right now, I'm running and a partner in this company, and we're doing this. I'm always doing a million things, but that's my primary time. That's taking the majority of time right now. And he was like, dude, you're literally producing. You're just producing a different product than a film. But it's so similar. And I've learned that over and over again. And really where I excel is I'm creative, but I'm also analytical to some extent. And so I can talk the finance talk. I can talk because side note, I worked in private equity right out of college for a year. So
dude,
I know
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. But I know how to talk the finance lingo. I know how to, I have an investing mind. I know how to talk about funds and structures and ROI and all those investing metrics. But I also, at heart, I'm a creative.
Yeah.
And so I know the creative mind. I know the artist's mind. And it pains me because the artist does not understand the finance, the financier's mind. He doesn't understand the mind of, hey, I need to put this much money in and get 12% at the end of the year. And the finance guy does not understand the artist's mind. And so my strong suit in the company that I'm running now, and how I see in the future it growing and morphing as I grow into more of a producer role of entertainment, visual entertainment. It's being that, I like to call it, you're the suit to the creatives and a creative to the suits, and it's that translation there that gets lost all of the time. I can translate those two languages together, and so that's really my strong suit. Of Yeah, I am a producer.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't produce film,
Right.
but that's coming one day. And so it's developing a skill set to really learn how to build a team,
Yeah.
learn how to manage people, learn how to network, connect people, even if it's not for your own gain, learn how to fundraise, learn how to manage money. And, you know, it's sailing a ship.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
Yeah,
I'm
that's
in the
interesting.
trenches right now.
Because like all business is people business at the end of the day. Film or
Yes.
selling furniture or
It's
whatever.
all people, it's all money.
Yeah.
It's you gotta know how to use money and manage money. You gotta know how to use and manage people and care for them.
Okay, so on that, I'm curious. You've done a lot of stuff, and I would say you've been successful at it. As a creative, what can you tell other creatives about understanding the financial side of it versus, I guess, like the financial, the money side? Because it seems like that's what creatives are really bad at, is money. And like knowing how to like do the more business side of it versus the creative side.
Are you talking about like personally, like personal finances?
No,
or
just like
in terms of a project?
in terms of a project.
Oof. So
Put you on the
like
spot.
what's the question? What would I tell the creative? What would I explain to them about the
Yeah.
analytical mind?
Yeah. Well, no, more like how would you, if you had a creative, if you had me sitting here and I'm like, yeah, I
is
love
great.
doing
Now
the
I'm on
creative
track.
stuff,
Yep.
but I don't know anything about the business side of it. Like, I want to do creative stuff, but like, how do I do that and also make a living at it or whatever?
That's a great question. Well, the making a living part, you can't quit. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
And if you don't quit, you'll get there eventually. And the other thing is plant a million seeds. You know, in so many different worlds, I'll use entertainment for now because this is what we're talking about. But
Yeah.
you have to come up with 100 ideas, and you know maybe 10 are actually worth pursuing it at all, and 1 or 2 are going to have something to stand on. And then you take it to other people, and you're like, "Hey, I have this idea," and the first 3 people are like,
Yeah.
no good. Okay, well then okay, cut that one out. But let's run with this one idea out of the 100 that you came up with. You know, in songwriting, you don't if you're writing an album, if you're you know doing it professionally,
Yeah.
and you're writing an album with 10 tracks, you don't write 10 songs. You write 50 songs. You write 100 songs, because then you have some level of knowledge of what's good.
Yeah.
And if you write 10 songs, you have a ranked order of what best to worst, and the worst song is making it on the
Yeah,
album.
that's funny.
If you write 50 songs, you have 50 rankings of each song, and the top 10 are making it on the album. And so plant the seeds. If you're a creative and you're wanting to make a living, you got to plant the seeds. And
That's interesting.
that also ties in with relationships too. Like, be outgoing.
Yeah.
I learned in the music. I was a pretty shy kid, even in the 7 Days in Utopia days when I was 14. Like, I loved people. I've always loved people, but I was not outgoing. And then when we started touring, after the shows, you're signing, CDs when people bought CDs, and you're talking with people, and you're schmoozing the crowd, and you're, hey, like, we're going to be back here in 3 months. You should come to our show at this venue. And because that's really, you're selling yourself. You got to know how to sell yourself. And so that's like, be a people person.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say like, network, because I hate networking. I hate schmoozing. Like, that's all me-centered. If you're me-centered, people are going to read through that. And it's not like, if you're doing it for you, then find something better to do. That's something outside of yourself. But if you're a people person and you love people, like, be that person. Become a people person. Become a person who loves people, and just connect with fellow creatives. Encourage people. Cheer other people on.
Yeah.
This is way getting. This is kind of shotgun
Go there.
approach, but it's
Go
just it's planting a million seeds, meeting a million people,
Yeah.
and eventually, someone's gonna say, "Hey, remember that guy we met 6 months ago? He said he had this expertise. Let's pull him in on this project." And I'll tell you a story. Again, just I don't know if this is exactly your question, but in terms of making it as an artist, a guy I know really well was looking for a job. He's in a big city with lots of creative things going on, and he had a lot of friends in the creative industry. But for whatever reason, and he's very good at what he does, but for whatever reason, he just wasn't getting calls, and so he had lived in this city for like 8 to 10 months, and he just wasn't really getting traction, and but he didn't quit, and he kept showing up, he kept loving people, he kept being a people person, and he kept showing up, just checking in with people, making sure they're good, just being a good human being.
Yeah.
And about 10 months after moving to the city, he gets a call from one of his friends who recommended him to one of his friends who was friends with another friend. It was like this whole triangle of network. And so when the one guy who didn't know my friend said like, "Hey, what about this guy?" All of the other people in the room were like, "Yes, he's amazing. He's really good." And so the guy that didn't know my friend was like, "Oh yes, let's hire him. Like bring him on board." And so he came on board.
Interesting.
Worked for 6 weeks on this creative project. It was a marketing deal. They worked for 6 weeks. Everyone on the team loved him. The 2 different companies involved got in a bidding war over him, and the rest is history. I mean, everybody's, after he was given the opportunity to prove himself, he did it. Now, he was ready to prove himself.
Yeah.
He was good at his craft.
Yeah.
And so you got to make sure you're ready for, you plant the seeds, and then don't just sit there and twiddle your thumbs. Like plant the seeds and then go get good at harvesting. Because if you want the rain to come, you got to be ready to harvest when the time has come. You can't be like, "Oh, now I got to learn how to be a graphic designer, or now I got to learn how to be disciplined, or now I got to learn how to manage my own time." Like, you got to be good at those things beforehand.
Yeah.
And so when the opportunity arrives, you're ready. You can take advantage of that.
That's interesting, because if you're making 50 songs and only 10 make it on an album, I feel like you have to kind of have an open hand.
100%.
And you can't be so like emotionally attached to like every single song or every single project, whatever you're working on.
Yeah.
You have to be able to withstand rejection.
Yep. You, as an artist, I this is a little crass way of explaining this, but I like to think of you're pimping your emotions out. And we wrote 50 songs for the album that we recorded, and 10 of them made it. And songs 11 through 15 are really good.
Yeah.
And I still listen to them and I love them, but they weren't good enough.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I poured my heart and soul into those songs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they were left on the chopping block because they weren't good enough. But you have to understand, as an artist, do you want to do your art? And do you want to make a living?
Yeah.
If you want to do your art and you don't care about making a living at it, great. Make your art and don't worry about the financial benefit of it. If you're trying to make a living from your art, you might have to learn how to disconnect your emotions so you can take critique, you can take feedback from your audience or from other excellent people at their craft. You have to be able to take that. There's so many artists out there who pour their heart and soul into a film, song, a literal work of art.
Yeah.
And they don't want to know. They don't want to know how they can get better. They don't want to know what people think unless it's positive, because they're so fragile.
Yeah.
And you can't be fragile. You have to be able to take criticism. If you want to get better and you want to make a living, well, that's a little bit subjective, but if you want to get better, you have to be able to take criticism.
Yeah.
And recognize it not as a personal attack, but as the person who is critiquing as long as a person is genuinely doing this, raising you up.
Yeah.
So that's how I would describe, like, you've got to be able to take criticism as an
Yeah.
artist, and artists are famously fragile, and you got to work on that in yourself
Yeah.
to not be that
I mean,
way.
it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you pour your heart and soul into something.
Totally does. It totally
It's very
does.
personal.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then you also have to, I mean, you were saying like writing 50 songs, like that's not an easy task.
Yeah.
You got to stay disciplined.
You got to stay
Focus.
disciplined. Time management, self-discipline. You got to know how bad you want it,
Yeah.
you know?
Which don't really seem like artist traits.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's why the visual of a starving artist is very accurate.
Sure.
Like, we all know starving artists, and they're not really self-disciplined. They're not disciplined in their craft. You have to treat it like a job. You have to show up. You have to show up. You have to show up. My favorite book of all time on creativity and art and work and time management is called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And he talks about showing up.
Yeah.
And you got to show up. You got to show up at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Don't show up at, whenever you feel like it. If you show up whenever you feel like it, you're never going to show up. You show up at 9 a.m. and you work until the work is done. And that's
9
how
a.m.
I...
seems a little late.
All right, 6 a.m.
Just kidding.
My time was always 9 a.m. I guess because I'm an artist.
That's funny.
But when I was writing songs, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to be my own worst boss so that I didn't have to have a boss.
Yeah. Interesting.
And so I showed up every day at 9 a.m. and that was my start time, and I worked until the work was done. Sometimes that was 6 o'clock in the evening. Sometimes that was 11 o'clock in the evening. But I mean, day in, day out, you show up, you show up, you show up. And even if you don't get a good song, if you get a line, you won. If you created in the day, you won. But you have to do something.
Yeah.
And you have to show up.
Yeah. How do you get past like looking at a blank screen? How do you get past that to getting your first line or whatever, your first piece of movement towards your art?
I'd say the most accurate experience I've had with this is songwriting.
Yeah.
And I was in my studio in Texas, and I was working on something for 3 days with no breakthrough. It was It was horrible. I was like so done. I was, all my vision was blurry. I was just like, this is stupid. I was mad, and even during that time, like obviously there's great, take walks.
Yeah.
Go for rest your brain. Take a walk. Take a nap. Get a drink. Just like shake it up. Change the scenery. Do something. But I remember I had done all those things, and it was the first day, spent all day and just couldn't get anything. Second day, spent all day, couldn't get anything. And the third day, in the afternoon, I specifically remember I was like propped up on my the kitchen countertops in my studio, sitting there Indian style. Like I was out of my mind at this point. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I was just like banging my head against the wall. And then immediately, boom, something hit me, and I was like, wait, that's good. And it was like the floodgates opened, and so it just like came out of me. Finished the song that afternoon.
Dang.
And it was a really good song. And so I think the idea is you can't quit.
Yeah.
You can't quit, and then you have to show back up. And so,
Next day.
the next day.
9 a.m.
Exactly. And there might be a point, and this would happen often. It's like, it's 5 p.m. I've written one line today. It wasn't even a great line, but I showed up and I did the work.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything
That
else
was the
today.
win.
Like I'm going home.
Yeah.
I gotta rest it. But then the next morning, 9 a.m., you show up.
Yeah.
And that next day, didn't get anything. So at 5 p.m., it's like, you don't want to be a slave driver of yourself.
Sure.
You want to still enjoy what you're doing. And so it's like, you know what? Can't get anything. But guess what? I showed up and I wrote one line, even if it's a crappy line. And then the next day, you show up at 9 a.m.
Yep.
And then that third day, that's when the song came. And then, that was the most extreme example of that.
Sure.
But it could be half a day, it could be a whole day when you're.
Do you remember what song was that? Was that one that released?
I don't remember what song that was, honestly. No, I'd be making it up if I told you. But that happens often.
Yeah, sure.
That not to that extent, but that happened
Well, I'm curious,
quite often.
Does that happen to songs that don't even make it to the album?
Oh, 100%. I mean,
That's crazy.
yeah, I think I wrote 52 songs in the 16 months leading up to our recording, and 10 of them got recorded. And again, like I said earlier, songs 11 through 15 to 20 are really good.
Yeah.
They're just, they either weren't the right fit for the album, or we're talking about doing another project, and they'll be on that project. Some of them will be on that project, but songs 21 through 52, throw those away.
Yeah.
But you still pour your heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
It's still a good experience.
That's crazy.
You still learn how to write better. But an interesting thing too is that in terms of showing up, I always found that once you got the bulk of a project done, the last 5 songs you wrote, probably all of them were going to be incredible songs that were going to go on the record. So when we released, the reason we got our record deal in 2021 was because 3 songs that released in 2020. And I had written, for those 3 songs, it was like a 3-song EP. Well, it was really 3 singles that all did well. And that's kind of what got Warner Music's attention. But I was writing in 2019 for these songs that released in 2020, and I probably wrote 20 songs for these 3. The first 16 songs literally never saw the light of day. They all got trashed of those 20. The first 16 were trash. Songs 17, 19, and 20 were the 3 songs that killed it the next year.
That's crazy.
So exactly. So it's like it's this growth. If we would have just stopped at 12, those songs would have never been written. And so you just have to keep going until it's excellent.
Wait, that's wild.
Mm-hmm. And the same with the album that we recorded with Warner in 2021. Wrote from the beginning of 2020 to the middle of 2021, and there were a few throughout 2020 that we used, but the majority of the songs, I'd say 7 of the songs, were written within the last 3 months of culminating to going into record the album.
Okay, so with that, how do you know when to quit? Like, what if you wrote to 100 songs?
How do you know when the project is done, or how do you know when you should quit?
I mean, if the last 5 songs are the best,
Yeah.
how do you know that you shouldn't write one more, and that one's going to be even better, or one more after that?
That's a
or
great
10 more
question.
after that.
Yeah. I think you know.
Yeah.
I think you just know.
Do you run out of time? You just like,
Yes.
I got to get this out.
Natural time limits. And that's another artist dilemma is,
Yeah.
I'm going to release next month. Well, next month. Well,
Yeah.
next month.
Yeah.
So, I mean, eventually you got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
For me, I always knew. And we have a goal, have a timeline, have a deadline. Another thing artists
Yeah.
are bad at, having a deadline. So we always, as a band, we have deadlines. And we're like, okay, we want to release in November, early November, or late October, skip the Christmas rush, and then February and April. And I'm talking about singles. And so we knew we had those deadlines. And so when the deadline was there, we're like, okay, we got to go to the studio and record these songs to get it done with our deadline. So I think deadlines are necessary. And also being generous with yourself and knowing that it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's really easy to go to go way radical on either side of like, it's never good enough, it's never good enough, it's got to be perfect, it's got to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. However, you can also go the other way and be like, well, it's good enough. Like, let's just release it. And it's like, no, that's crappy.
Yeah.
And so finding that line is where the gold is.
Yeah.
And being able to pull the trigger. I think having people around you in the industry, having people around you in the artistry of it is really helpful. And having a deadline. Like, okay, what do we want to do? When do we want to release? What kind of project do we want to release? You know, have these visions and set a timeline on it and get it done and show up. But the problem would come if you set the deadline and then you didn't show up for 6 months and you're like, oh no, we have 2 weeks to write an album. I'm not saying it hasn't been done. Obviously it has been done.
Yeah.
But your normal artist is not going to be able to come in and create an entire project that is excellent in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think just accountability, timelines, that's when you get into the structure.
Yeah.
And then send to your friends who are also in the music industry. You know, that's what I had a songwriting mentor who has won awards and he was a very, very, very successful songwriter. And I'd send him everything. And the first 10 songs I sent him, first of all, they sucked. I didn't realize it at the time. And he ripped them apart.
Oh, really?
He ripped them apart. But guess what? Everyone was a little bit less. It was a little bit better. And then by song 15, he was like, dude, this is awesome. And I knew I could trust him.
Yeah.
Because he had told me the first song that I ever sent him, he was like, you know, this isn't great. And here's why. And he told me the truth. And basically I still remember that night, we spent 3 hours on the phone dissecting this phone. Basically him telling me how much it sucked.
Yeah.
But I respected it. And I respected him for telling me the truth because there's so many people that will just say, oh, it's great. Yeah, it sounds good. It's like, you want somebody that can tell you the truth. And so this songwriting mentor of mine listened and he told me, it sucks. But then the next one sucked a little bit less.
Yeah.
And he was always good at saying like, hey, but this aspect is really good. Like, do more of this. So it was an encouraging, it wasn't just like a shutdown. It was like this is not great, but this little part, do more of that. And, 3 years later, as I was still sending him songs, and he was like, this is unbelievable. I love this. I'm going to send this around to my network. I knew I could trust him because he had told me the truth when it was bad, and I knew that he was telling me the truth when it was good.
Yeah.
So, and there were still songs in those
cool.
when I was what I would call proficient, that what I was doing, and he would be like, it's good. It's, I don't love it, and so then again, when he said like, this is good, I knew it.
Yeah.
So find somebody like that.
Yeah. Someone to give you feedback.
Yes, and you can trust.
So after the music, or not after, I guess, but while you were doing music, you jumped back into film and acting.
Yeah.
What was kind of your first movie film back into acting?
So one of my best friends, Lucas, who I was in 7 Days in Utopia with, I introduced him to a couple of buddies of mine who were in the faith-based world, who introduced him to a buddy of theirs, and we shot together. And on this project, I didn't act. I was just Lucas's right-hand man. We shot out in Colorado in December and February. It was 2 different shooting times, and it was cold.
Yeah, I bet.
And so I was just there to hang out with Lucas, spend time with him, make sure he was taken care of. But that was kind of my first toe, dipping my toe in the water back again into the film world. And then 4 months later, I had just a small scene in a film called Jesus Revolution, about the Jesus Revolution back in the 1970s, and the story of Calvary Chapel and that whole revival back that ended up sweeping the rest of the country in the 70s. And so I was in Jesus Revolution, and then later that year I did a little bit of music supervising and just helping out Lucas again on a couple projects. A producer friend of mine really wanted him to be on something, so me and my brother connected Lucas, and he was in some great projects. which ended up being real beautiful. And then that was late 2022. 2023, I know I did something, but I can't remember what it was. 2024, the same. And then 2025, I got a call from a friend of mine, or a text, and he goes, "Hey, can you play drums?" And I was like,
I can learn.
I can learn real quick, I promise. And so this guy, one of my buddies, was producing the film I Can Only Imagine 2, sequel to a really successful film that came out back in 2018, about the band Mercy Me, and the lead singer Bart Millard's life story. And so he texted me. I was in France at the time. It was a Tuesday night in France. He texted me. He's like, "Can you play drums?" I was like, I can fake it. He's like, "Okay, can you send in an audition tape? Can you send in a tape of you playing drums of one of these 3 songs? And we need it quick." But I was in France at the time. I was like,
Had you ever played drums before?
No, never played drums before. But I was in band. I knew I had good rhythm, but I didn't play drums.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, how is this going to work? And I was flying home the next day. So flew home. The next day, got in my car, drove down to San Antonio, got with one of my buddies who's an amazing worship drummer. I said, "I need you to teach me how to play this song." So we literally sat down for 2 hours. He kind of like walked me through the basics. For the next 3 days, I went home, borrowed a buddy's drum kit. For the next 3 days, I played drums every single hour of every single day for the whole weekend. Sunday afternoon, I recorded my audition, played the drum track, and then 3 days later, there were 2 directors. The directors and the producer texted me, and they were like, "Hey, you got the part." And so
That's crazy.
it was awesome. I played part of Robbie, who is the drummer for Mercy Me, and so it was an unbelievable experience. We filmed for about 7 weeks in Nashville.
Dang.
We filmed for a couple days out in Red Rocks, Colorado, at Red Rocks Amphitheater, and it was an unbelievable experience. The team was amazing. The cast was amazing. The leadership was amazing. The story, the band was on set a bunch, so got to know the real guys.
Oh, cool.
And the really cool thing about that experience was it's a true story.
Yeah.
It's an amazing about redemption and just kind of a full circle of restoration, and all the real life people were on set. And so it was a really cool experience. There were 10 cast members who were a part of the story, and we just all became fast friends.
That's cool.
And it was an amazing experience.
You got to meet the real Robbie.
Got to meet the real Robbie. Yep.
That's crazy.
He actually lives in Dallas. Yeah. He's the only band member. The band is originally from Texas. All of them live in Nashville now except Robbie. So
Nice.
Robbie's still Texas strong.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
So the first I Can Only Imagine, covers like how he got into music and then formed the band and his relationship with his dad and stuff. Can you say what the next movie is about?
I think I can. Yeah, the sequel to I Can Only Imagine, the original, is called I Can Only Imagine 2, Even If. And it's about the song that came out in 2017 or 18, I believe. And Bart wrote it as he was going through a really tough struggle. So the storyline, and I won't give anything away, is about Bart Millard dealing with some stuff that's happened in the last 10 years of his life. So the timeline is like 2010. And they're on tour. They go on tour, and this guy that they didn't know is coming on tour as their opener, and his name is Tim Timmons. And Tim is played by Milo Ventimiglia. And so the story is about Tim is going through his own personal faith walk and journey and struggle. Again, won't give that away, but he's struggling with some stuff. Bart is struggling with some stuff, and they kind of meet the end of their rope at the same time. The story is a beautiful redemption story, and I won't give anything else away, but it's going to be a really special one. It's going to be a really special one.
Nice. Very cool.
It's going to be awesome.
And then what are you doing now?
What am I doing now?
What are you working on?
What am I so running businesses, as I do.
As you do,
As I
businesses.
do. And yes, and so we're killing it in that area. We have the best team in the world right now. It's just awesome. And then also we're developing another project, which I can't say too much about, but it's an unscripted idea. It's an unscripted project based on a family business.
Yeah.
And so we've been developing it for about 2 months. The first guy we pitched it to was a good friend and a very successful entertainer.
Yeah.
And we said, like, hey, would you be a sounding board for this idea? Here's the idea. It was very mumbly, jumbly, muddy at the time. We're like, we think this really has some traction. It's a real life circumstance. It's kind of think Fixer Upper, Chip and Joanna Gaines meets Duck Dynasty, with a splash of Schitt's Creek, and the family drama surrounding that, because it's about a family business.
Yeah.
And the world that this family operates is very high class. It's very high dollar, and so we pitched one of our this friend who's very successful in the entertainment industry, and we said, could you be a sounding board? This is me and my brother pitching this idea, and me and my brother said, could you be a sounding board? And he goes, I'll do you one better. Why don't you let me produce this with you?
Nice.
And so that guy came on as a producer, and then it's just kind of, it's a project that's growing and taking shape, and it's one of those things. It's another seed that's planted.
Yeah.
Who knows what it'll be?
Sure.
But it's a really great story. It has the potential to be really, really hilariously entertaining, but in a very high stakes world.
Nice.
And so we'll see what happens to it. We're very hyped about it.
Nice. Well, that's cool too, because it's like all the things that you just talked about, like the principles you just talked about, seeing those in action in the moment, where you're getting up and you're working on this one every day, and you're doing all the things that you just talked about. And
I need to get better at that, though.
well, you're good enough, but you're gonna. This is just the first of 52, of however many you're gonna work on in the future, and this is the first one. It's probably not gonna be your best, I would assume.
Yeah.
And so you'll have
Hopefully
another
not,
one and another one.
Yeah. Exactly.
All the way up.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Cool. Well, what are we at?
Dude, exactly an hour.
Yep.
Let's go.
Thanks for coming on.
8:55. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
To Planet of the Films.
We didn't even barely talk about films. Let's just jump in a little bit. Some quick films.
Okay.
What are your favorites?
Oh man. I mean, the classics. I'll be a nerd and say Lord of the Rings, because it's
nerd.
Epic. Total nerd. The Revenant is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I love that film. I love
That's a crazy film.
It is a crazy film.
I don't know if I ever finished it because it was so crazy.
It is wild. It is a wild film. I love that film. Other films that I love, The Patriot.
Yeah.
Classic.
You, way back in the day, you introduced me to Gladiator.
Yes.
And that was a big win.
Again, classic. So good. A film that's probably, I could say, is definitely in my top 3 is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
I need to rewatch that.
It is so good.
That's a good one.
The soundtrack, the visuals, the acting, the directing. I mean, Ben Stiller's just a master craftsman at what he does. And obviously now with, what is the show that he just...
Oh, Severance.
Severance, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just killing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Secret Life of Walter Mitty is one of my top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. Well, we'll have to do this again.
Let's do it.
For sure. Oh, that camera even cut out. So that's a wrap. I'm losing. This is Schitt's Creek.
Hey, it is. But that's good.
Thanks for coming on. We'll see you later.
Peace out.